The notification lit up my phone at 11:47 p.m. while I stood in the checkout line at Morrison's Bakery, holding Julia's favorite red velvet cake. Our anniversary cake. The one she'd mentioned wanting 3 times this week. Julia Cross posted to her story. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I shouldn't have looked. Should have kept my eyes on the tired cashier counting my change. But marriage makes you stupid that way, always hoping your wife might post something sweet about you, something that shows the world she actually gives a damn. Instead, I got, stuck with boring husband tonight. Send help. The cake box felt heavier in my hands. Around me, the fluorescent lights hummed their late-night symphony while some teenager bagged my purchase with the enthusiasm of a funeral director. But all I could see was that post, posted 20 minutes ago, while I was out buying her cake. Sir, your receipt? I took it without looking at the kid, my mind already racing. Julia had been tired when I left, said she was going straight to bed. Yet here she was, posting on Instagram at midnight, complaining about spending time with me. The drive home took 8 minutes. 8 minutes of my brain doing what it does best, connecting dots, finding patterns, building cases. It's what made me good at running my construction business. It's what made me dangerous when someone tried to play me for a fool. Our house sat dark except for the upstairs bedroom window. Julia's car was in the driveway, same spot as when I left. I parked behind it and sat there for a moment, cake box on my lap, watching that lit window. She was probably scrolling through responses to her post right now. Probably laughing with her friends about her boring husband who worked 60-hour weeks to pay for her lifestyle. I climbed out of the truck and walked to our front door, keys jingling in the September night. The sound seemed too loud, like everything else suddenly felt too sharp, too clear. The way things get right before a storm hits. Inside, I set the cake on the kitchen counter and pulled out my phone again. The post was still there. 3 heart-eye emojis from her friend Monica, a girl same from someone named Ashley, and a fire emoji from an account I didn't recognize, some guy with a gym selfie as his profile picture. I screenshotted everything. Don't know why. Instinct, maybe. Then I climbed the stairs to our bedroom, each step creaking like it was announcing my presence. The door was cracked open, and I could see Julia's shape under the covers, phone glowing in her hands. "Hey, babe," I said softly. "I got your cake." She startled, fumbling with her phone. "Oh, you're back. I was just checking my emails." "At midnight?" "You know how work is." She set the phone face down on her nightstand. "Did you get the red velvet?" "Of course." I leaned against the doorframe, studying her face in the dim light. "Thought we could celebrate our anniversary properly tomorrow." Sounds nice." She was already turning away, pulling the covers up to her chin. "I'm really tired, though. Long day." "Yeah, I bet. All that being stuck with your boring husband must be exhausting." She went very still. "What?" "Nothing, honey. Just thinking out loud." I pushed off from the doorframe. Sweet dreams. I went back downstairs and sat at our kitchen table with a beer and Julia's phone charger. See, my wife had a habit. She always forgot to charge her devices. Always. Which meant she'd left her iPad plugged in on the counter like she had every night for the past 3 years. The iPad that shared her iCloud account. The iPad that received all her messages. I'd never snooped before. Never had a reason to. But that post had flipped some switch in my brain. And suddenly, I was the kind of husband who needed to know things. Her messages loaded slowly. Texts with Monica about weekend plans. Work emails about some marketing campaign. Group chats full of gossip and restaurant recommendations. Normal stuff. Boring stuff. Then I found the Instagram DMs. The first one was from 3 weeks ago. From that gym selfie guy, Liam Hawke, according to his profile. Personal trainer, apparently. Drove a white Tesla. posted workout videos and motivational quotes about living your best life. Liam: Hey beautiful, great meeting you at the Velvet Hammer last night. Julia: You too, such a fun conversation. Liam: Would love to continue it sometime, maybe over dinner? Julia: I'd like that, but you know my situation. Liam: I'm very discreet. I scrolled down. 3 weeks of messages, flirting that turned into planning that turned into meeting times and hotel names that turned into explicit photos I definitely didn't need to see. My hands were shaking by the time I reached the most recent exchange from earlier tonight. Julia: He's out getting cake, so domestic, so boring. Liam: Poor baby. Can't wait to see you tomorrow at the spa. 2 p.m.? Julia: Perfect. He'll be at work. He never suspects anything. Liam: Good. I have plans for you. Julia: Can't wait. This marriage is killing me slowly. I set the iPad down and finished my beer in one long pull. Then I opened another one and read through everything again, taking screenshots this time. Evidence. Always collect evidence. By the time I was done, it was almost 2 a.m. Julia was snoring softly upstairs, probably dreaming about her personal trainer and his Tesla and his plans for her tomorrow afternoon. I sat there in our kitchen, surrounded by the life we'd built together. Wedding photos on the refrigerator, her coffee mug in the sink, the anniversary cake I'd bought sitting unopened on the counter. She thought I was boring, thought I was some clueless husband who'd never figure it out. Thought she could play me while I worked my ass off to give her everything she wanted. I pulled out my phone and opened my contacts, found my brother Shane's number. Me: You awake? Shane: Unfortunately. What's up? Me: Julia's cheating. Found the proof. Shane: Jesus, you okay? Me: I will be. Need your help with something. Shane: Name it. Me: Remember that thing you said about people underestimating the quiet ones? Shane: Yeah. Me: Time to prove your point. I turned off the iPad and went upstairs. Julia was still sleeping, phone charging on her nightstand, completely peaceful. She had no idea that her boring husband had just become the most interesting part of her life. Tomorrow, she was planning to meet Liam at the spa. She thought I'd be at work, clueless and trusting. She was half right. I'd definitely be somewhere else. But clueless? Not anymore. I called in sick to work the next morning. First time in 2 years, which made my foreman Danny laugh. You? Sick? What did you catch, a conscience? Something like that, I told him. Cover the Morrison job for me. I'll make it up to you. Julia was already gone when I woke up. Her side of the bed was cold, and I could hear her car starting in the driveway. She'd left a note on the kitchen counter. Working late tonight. Don't wait up. J. No love you, no miss you. Just initials, like I was her accountant. I made coffee and called Shane. My brother had always been the muscle between us, 6 years in the Marines, built like a brick wall, with the kind of face that made people cross the street. But he was also smart, which people tended to forget until it was too late. So, what's the plan? He asked when he showed up at my house an hour later, carrying a gym bag and wearing clothes that actually fit him for once. Simple surveillance. I want to see exactly what my wife does when she thinks I'm not watching. And then? Then we get creative. Shane grinned. It wasn't a nice expression. I like it already. We took Shane's truck, a beat-up Ford that blended in everywhere. First stop was Julia's office building, a glass monument to corporate ambition downtown. We parked across the street and waited. There, Shane pointed. White Tesla. Pretty boy at 3 o'clock. Liam Hawke stepped out of his car like he was posing for a magazine cover. Designer workout clothes, perfectly styled hair, the kind of confidence that came from never being punched in the face. He was younger than me, prettier than me, probably made more money posting shirtless videos than I made building actual things. That's him? That's him. Huh. Shane studied Liam through the windshield. Looks like the kind of guy who uses hair product. Expensive hair product. The worst kind. We watched Liam disappear into the building. 20 minutes later, he came back out with Julia. She was laughing at something he'd said, touching his arm, looking at him the way she used to look at me about 5 years ago. They got into his Tesla and drove toward the spa district. We followed at a distance, Shane handling the driving while I took photos with my phone. You know, Shane said as we tracked them through downtown traffic, I never liked her. You never said anything. You were happy, or I thought you were. Plus, she made good potato salad. That was store-bought. Well, shit. Should have said something years ago. The Serenity Spa was the kind of place that charged $200 for a massage and served cucumber water in the lobby. Liam and Julia went inside together, and I felt something cold settle in my stomach. How long you think they'll be? Shane asked. Couple hours, probably. Good. Gives us time to set up. Set up what? Shane reached into his gym bag and pulled out a small device I didn't recognize. Dash cam, wireless, streams straight to your phone. Where'd you get that? Amazon. Amazing what they sell these days. He climbed out of the truck. I'm gonna stick this under his car. You keep watch. Shane, relax. It's not illegal to put a camera in a parking lot, public space and all that. I watched my brother crouch next to the Tesla, his hands moving quickly and efficiently. Military training, he'd always said, taught you to improvise, adapt, overcome. He was back in the truck within 2 minutes. Done. Now we wait for them to come out, then we follow the show. The show, as it turned out, was depressingly predictable. After the spa, they went to lunch at some trendy place that served tiny portions on huge plates. Then they drove to Liam's condo, a modern glass box in the expensive part of town. You want to see this part? Shane asked as they disappeared into the building. No. I'd seen enough. More than enough. Let's go home. What about the camera? Leave it. I want to see where else they go. We drove back to my house in silence. Shane made sandwiches while I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the photos on my phone. Julia laughing. Julia touching Liam's arm. Julia looking happier than she'd looked with me in months. You know what pisses me off most? I said finally. What? She called me boring, like I'm some kind of furniture she has to work around. But look at this guy. I held up a photo of Liam. Generic gym rat with a lease on a fancy car. Probably has inspirational quotes tattooed on his ribs. That's exciting? Shane bit into his sandwich. Women are weird, man. It's not about women. It's about respect. She doesn't respect me, doesn't respect our marriage, doesn't respect anything we built together. So what are you going to do about it? That was the question, wasn't it? I could confront her directly, but she'd just lie. Could file for divorce, but she'd take half of everything I'd worked for. Could pretend I didn't know and live the rest of my life as a fool. Or I could do something else, something that would make her understand exactly what she was throwing away. Remember in high school, I said, when Tommy Morrison kept picking on you? Yeah. And you didn't fight him. You just made his life complicated. Shane smiled. Superglue in his locker, salt in his gas tank, called his mom and told her he was selling weed. He left you alone after that. He left town after that. Right. I pulled up the dashboard camera app on my phone. The Tesla was still parked outside Liam's building. I think it's time to make some people's lives complicated. Shane finished his sandwich and cracked his knuckles. Where do we start? I thought about Julia's Instagram post, about her friends laughing at her boring husband joke, about Liam's smug face and his Tesla and his plans for my wife. We start with the car. That evening, I was sitting in my living room when Julia came home. She looked flushed and happy, her hair slightly messed up despite the spa visit. She'd changed clothes since this morning, different blouse, different perfume. Hey babe, she said, not quite meeting my eyes. How was work? Boring, I said. Same as always. She flinched slightly at the word. I'm gonna grab a shower. Long day. I bet. How was the spa? She froze halfway to the stairs. Spa? You mentioned something about a spa day with Monica. Oh, right. Yeah, it was relaxing. Good. You seemed stressed lately. She nodded quickly and disappeared upstairs. I heard the shower start a few minutes later and pulled out my phone to check the camera feed. The Tesla was gone from Liam's building. According to the GPS tracker Shane had also installed, it was currently parked outside a gym across town. Liam was probably working out, burning off the calories from his afternoon activities. I opened my laptop and started researching. Liam Hawk, personal trainer and Instagram influencer, 12,000 followers, posted daily workout videos and motivational content, drove for a rideshare company on weekends to supplement his income, which meant his Tesla wasn't just a status symbol, it was his livelihood. Interesting. I spent the next hour learning everything I could about Liam's life, his schedule, his clients, his favorite restaurants, his ex-girlfriend who'd left him 6 months ago. Social media made people so transparent. They documented everything, shared every detail, never realizing they were creating a roadmap for anyone who cared to look. Julia came downstairs in her robe, hair wet from the shower. "What are you working on?" she asked. "Research for a job. Potential client wants some custom work done." "That's nice." She sat on the couch next to me, close enough that I could smell her shampoo. "I was thinking we could order pizza tonight. Maybe watch a movie." "Sure. What do you want to watch?" "I don't know. Something fun. Something not boring." There was that word again. She was testing me, seeing if I'd react, seeing if her little Instagram post had gotten under my skin. I smiled and closed the laptop. "Whatever you want, honey. You know me. I'm easy to please." She relaxed against the couch cushions. "That's what I love about you, Ben. You're so dependable. Dependable. Boring." Same thing in her mind. I ordered the pizza and picked a romantic comedy from Netflix. We sat together on the couch, Julia curled up against my side like nothing had changed, like she hadn't spent the afternoon in another man's bed, like she wasn't planning to do it again tomorrow. During the movie, her phone buzzed with a text. She glanced at it quickly and turned the screen face down. "Work?" I asked. "Monica. She wants to get drinks tomorrow night." Another lie. I'd already seen tomorrow's plan in their messages. Lunch at the Velvet Hammer, followed by a trip to Liam's place. Julia was getting bolder, more careless, perfect. "You should go," I said. "You work too hard. You deserve some fun." She looked surprised. "Really? You don't mind?" "Why would I mind? I trust you." The words tasted like ashes in my mouth, but Julia smiled and squeezed my hand. "I love you, Ben. I love you too." And I did. That was the hell of it. Even knowing what I knew, even seeing what I'd seen, part of me still loved the woman I'd married. The woman who used to laugh at my jokes and steal my hoodies and make plans for our future. But that woman was gone. Had been gone for a while, probably. What was left was a stranger who wore her face and slept in her side of the bed and lied to me with her smile. After Julia fell asleep, I went back to my laptop and opened a new browser window. It was time to do some shopping. Liquid-ass spray, stink bombs, industrial-strength superglue, fake parking tickets, all available for next-day delivery. Shane was right. Amazon really did sell everything. I placed my orders and went to bed. Tomorrow was going to be a very interesting day for Liam Hawk. The Velvet Hammer was the kind of bar that attracted people who wanted to be seen. Exposed brick walls, craft cocktails with names like Smoky Rebellion, and a clientele that spent more on their outfits than I made in a week. It was exactly where Julia would take her lover for a public lunch, hidden in plain sight among the trendy crowd. I arrived early and took a corner booth with a clear view of the entrance. The bartender was a woman named Angela, who'd gone to high school with Julia and me. She'd aged better than both of us, with silver streaks in her black hair and the kind of confidence that came from owning her own business. "Ben Cross," she said when she brought my beer. Haven't seen you in here before. Special occasion. Anniversary lunch with the missus? Something like that. Angela studied my face with the sharp eyes of someone who'd spent 15 years reading customers. You okay? You look like someone who's about to do something stupid. Probably. She laughed. Well, try not to break anything expensive. Julia and Liam arrived at noon sharp, just like their text messages had planned. They took a table near the window, Liam pulling out Julia's chair like some kind of gentleman. She was wearing a red dress I'd bought her last Christmas, the one she'd said was too fancy for anywhere we normally went. I watched them order drinks and appetizers, their heads bent close together, her hand resting on his arm. They looked like any other couple enjoying a romantic lunch, except one of them was married to someone else. My phone buzzed with a text from Shane. Package delivered. Target acquired. Perfect timing. I stood up and walked over to their table. Julia saw me coming and went white as a sheet. Ben! How did you… Hey, honey. I leaned down and kissed her cheek, tasting her shock. Thought I'd surprise you. Liam half rose from his chair, confusion written across his pretty face. I'm sorry. Who are you? Ben Cross, Julia's husband. I held out my hand. You must be the work friend she's having lunch with. He shook my hand automatically, his grip weak and sweaty. Yeah, work friend. I'm Liam. Nice to meet you, Liam. I pulled up a chair and sat down uninvited. Julia's told me so much about you. She has? Liam glanced at Julia, who was sitting frozen like a deer in headlights. Oh, yes. She says you're very… athletic. The waitress appeared at my elbow. Can I get you anything? Just water, thanks. I can't stay long. Have to get back to work. I smiled at Liam. What do you do, Liam? For work, I mean. I'm a personal trainer. That must be rewarding. Helping people get in shape, stay healthy. Very hands-on work, I imagine. Julia found her voice. Ben, we were just… having lunch, I can see that. I checked my phone. You know, it's funny. I was just outside, and I saw the strangest thing. Someone had done something to a white Tesla in the parking lot. You don't drive a white Tesla, do you, Liam? His face went pale. Excuse me? White Tesla. Someone had covered it in… well, I'm not sure what it was. Some kind of brown substance. Smelled terrible. I hope it wasn't yours. Liam was already standing, pulling out his wallet. I have to go. Julia, I'll call you later. Actually, I said, still smiling, I wouldn't count on that. He looked at me sharply. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. Just that phones break sometimes. Technology is so unreliable. Liam threw a 20 on the table and practically ran for the exit. Julia started to follow, but I caught her wrist. Sit down, honey. Finish your lunch. Ben, I can explain. I'm sure you can. You've always been good with explanations. I signaled the waitress. Can we get the check, please? The ride home was silent. Julia stared out the passenger window while I drove, her hands clenched in her lap. I could practically hear her brain working, trying to figure out how much I knew, how much I'd seen. How long? She asked finally. How long what? How long have you known? About Liam? Since last night? She turned to look at me. Last night? Your Instagram post was very enlightening. Stuck with boring husband tonight. Remember? Her face crumpled. Ben, I'm sorry. I didn't mean… Yes, you did. You meant every word. I pulled into our driveway and turned off the engine. The question is, what are we going to do about it? We sat in the car for a long moment, the engine ticking as it cooled. Julia was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. I never meant for this to happen, she whispered. But it did happen. For 3 weeks, it's been happening. In hotels, in his condo, probably in our bed when I wasn't home. Never in our bed. I would never… Oh, well, that makes it better. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Ben, please, I love you. I made a mistake, but I love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of me, the security I provide, the house, the lifestyle, the safety net, but you don't love me. That's not true. Prove it. She blinked. What? Prove it. Call Liam right now and tell him it's over. Block his number. Delete his photos. Show me that you choose our marriage over whatever this is. Julia's hand hovered over her phone. For a moment, I thought she might actually do it. Might choose us over him. Then her phone rang. Liam's name appeared on the screen. She looked at me, then at the phone, then back at me, and she answered it. Liam, are you okay? What happened to your car? I got out and walked into the house, leaving her in the car with her choice. Inside, I poured myself a scotch and called Shane. How'd it go? He asked. Better than expected. The liquid ass was a nice touch. Wait till you see what I did to his gym membership. What? Called and told them he'd been harassing female clients. They suspended his access pending investigation. I laughed despite everything. You're evil. I'm thorough. What's next? I looked out the window at Julia, still on the phone in the car, still choosing him over me. Now we get serious. Word travels fast in a small town, especially when it's juicy gossip about people everyone knows. By Thursday morning, half of Julia's social circle had heard about the lunch incident at the Velvet Hammer. Angela, it turned out, had a big mouth and a talent for dramatic storytelling. I was at Morrison's Hardware picking up supplies when I overheard two women talking in the next aisle. I heard he just sat down at their table like he owned the place. Poor Ben. I always liked him. Very polite, always tips well. And that personal trainer? Apparently someone vandalized his car, covered it in sewage or something. Karma's a bitch. I smiled and grabbed a box of industrial zip ties. Karma was indeed a bitch, but sometimes she needed a little help. My phone buzzed with a text from Monica, Julia's best friend. We need to talk. Coffee at 2? Interesting. Monica had been Julia's enabler for years, always encouraging her to live her best life and follow her heart. If Monica was reaching out to me, it meant the cracks were starting to show. I met her at a coffee shop downtown, far from the Velvet Hammer and its gossipy bartender. Monica looked nervous, fidgeting with her purse strap and checking her phone every few minutes. Thanks for coming, she said when I sat down across from her. What's on your mind, Monica? Julia, this whole situation with, her affair? Monica winced. She says it's not like that. Says you're making it bigger than it is. Really? What would you call it? A mistake. A moment of weakness. She's confused, Ben. She doesn't know what she wants. I sipped my coffee and studied Monica's face. She was lying, but not well. Her tells were obvious. The way she avoided eye contact, the slight tremor in her voice. How long have you known? I asked. Known what? About Liam, about the affair. How long have you been helping her cover it up? Monica's face went red. I haven't been... Monica. I kept my voice gentle, understanding. I'm not angry with you. You were being a good friend, but I need to know how deep this goes. She stared into her latte for a long moment. When she looked up, there were tears in her eyes. 6 weeks, she whispered. She told me 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks, not 3. Julia had been lying about the timeline, too. Did you tell her to end it? Of course I did. I told her she was being stupid, that she was going to lose everything. But she said she'd never felt this way before. Said you two had grown apart. And what did you think about that? Monica shrugged. I thought she was having a midlife crisis. Thought it would burn out on its own. But it didn't. No. It got worse. She started talking about leaving you. About starting over with Liam. The coffee turned bitter in my mouth. She wanted to leave me for him? She's not thinking clearly, Ben. She's caught up in the excitement, the newness. She doesn't realize what she's throwing away. I set down my cup and leaned back in my chair. Julia hadn't just been cheating. She'd been planning an exit strategy, building a new life while pretending to care about our old one. What do you want from me, Monica? I want you to fight for her. Don't just give up. Don't let her make the biggest mistake of her life. Why? Why do you care what happens to our marriage? Monica looked surprised by the question. Because you're good for her. You balance her out. Without you, she's just chaos. And with me, she's a cheater. That's not who she really is. Isn't it? I pulled out my phone and showed Monica a screenshot of Julia's Instagram post. This is who she really is. Someone who mocks her husband online for cheap laughs. Monica read the post and went pale. She didn't mean it like that. How did she mean it? She was just venting. People say stupid things online. People say what they really think online, when they think nobody's watching. I stood up and dropped a 10 on the table. Thanks for the coffee, Monica, and thanks for being honest with me. What are you going to do? What I should have done 6 weeks ago. That evening, Julia came home late again. She'd been working until 8, according to her text. But the GPS tracker on Liam's car told a different story. They'd spent the afternoon at a motel outside town. She found me in the kitchen, making dinner for one. You didn't wait for me, she said. You said you'd be late. I thought you might save me a plate. I gestured to the stove. There's leftover pasta. Help yourself. She heated up the food in silence while I cleaned dishes. The domestic routine felt surreal. 2 people playing house while their marriage burned down around them. Monica said she talked to you today, Julia said finally. She did. She said you seemed angry. Did I? Ben, we need to talk about this. Really talk. I dried my hands and turned to face her. Okay, let's talk. Tell me about the motel. She froze, fork halfway to her mouth. What motel? The one you and Liam went to this afternoon. The Riverside Inn on Route 9. The fork clattered to her plate. How do you... No. I know a lot of things, Julia. I know this has been going on for 6 weeks, not 3. I know you've been planning to leave me. I know you told Monica I was boring and that you'd never felt this way before. Tears started flowing down her cheeks. Ben, please. I know you answered his phone call in the car yesterday instead of choosing to save our marriage. I know you went to a motel with him today instead of coming home to your husband. Stop. I know you posted about being stuck with me while I was out buying you an anniversary cake. I know you don't love me, don't respect me, and don't want to be married to me. That's not true. Then why are you still seeing him? The question hung in the air between us. Julia opened her mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. No words came out. That's what I thought, I said. I walked past her toward the stairs, but she grabbed my arm. Where are you going? To pack. Pack? Ben, no. We can work this out. We can go to counseling. We can what? Pretend this didn't happen? Pretend you didn't choose him over me every single day for 6 weeks? I choose you now. I'm choosing you. No, you're not. You're choosing the security I represent. The house, the money, the stability. But you're not choosing me. I pulled free from her grip and headed upstairs. Behind me, I could hear her crying, but it sounded distant, like someone else's problem. In our bedroom, I pulled out a suitcase and started packing clothes. Julia appeared in the doorway, mascara streaking her face. Where will you go? Shane's place, for now. For how long? I don't know. She sat on the bed and watched me pack. I'm sorry, Ben. I'm so sorry. I know you are. Then why won't you forgive me? I stopped packing and looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd married 8 years ago. The woman who used to laugh at my jokes and steal my hoodies and make plans for our future. Because you're not sorry you did it, I said quietly. You're sorry you got caught. I finished packing and carried the suitcase downstairs. Julia followed me to the front door, still crying, still apologizing. This isn't over, she said, as I loaded my stuff into the truck. Yeah, I said, it is. But I was wrong. It wasn't over. It was just getting started. Shane's apartment was a testament to the bachelor lifestyle: beer in the fridge, pizza boxes on the counter, and a couch that had seen better decades. But it was quiet, and it was away from Julia, which made it perfect for planning. So what's the endgame here? Shane asked over breakfast the next morning. You just gonna let her have everything? Not everything. What's that supposed to mean? I showed him my phone. Check out Liam's Instagram. Shane scrolled through the posts, his eyebrows climbing higher with each swipe. Jesus, this guy really loves himself. Look at yesterday's story. The video showed Liam at the gym, working out shirtless, flexing for the camera. But it was the caption that made me smile. When life gives you setbacks, you come back stronger. Haters gonna hate. Never give up. Blessed life. Haters? Shane looked up from the phone. Is he talking about you? Seems like it. And he posted this after the car thing. After everything. The car, the gym membership suspension, the public humiliation at the restaurant. He's doubling down. Shane grinned. Cocky little bastard. That's what I'm counting on. My phone rang. Julia's name appeared on the screen. You gonna answer that? Shane asked. Eventually. I let it go to voicemail, then played the message on speaker. Ben, please come home. We need to talk. I ended things with Liam, I swear. I chose you. I chose us. Please come home. Shane raised an eyebrow. She ended it? She says she did. You believe her? I pulled up the GPS tracker app. Liam's car was currently parked outside a Starbucks downtown. As I watched, it started moving, heading toward the residential district where Julia worked. What do you think? Shane looked at the moving dot on the screen. I think your wife's a liar. I think you're right. We spent the morning shopping, not for groceries or household supplies, but for the kind of items that would make this interesting. Disposable phones, prepaid credit cards, a small digital camera, and, Shane's suggestion, a voice recorder. Trust me, he said when I questioned the last item. People always confess when they think nobody's listening. That afternoon, I drove to Julia's office building and waited. Her car was in the parking garage, same spot as always. I took the elevator to the 7th floor, where her marketing firm occupied half the space. The receptionist recognized me. Ben, how nice to see you. Julia didn't mention you were coming by. Surprise visit. Is she in? Conference room B, big presentation today. I could see the conference room through the glass walls. Julia was standing at the head of a long table, pointing at charts on a projection screen. She looked professional, competent, in control. Nothing like the crying woman who'd begged me to come home this morning. I waited in the lobby, watching her work. She was good at her job. I'd always known that. Smart, articulate, persuasive. The same skills that made her a successful marketer also made her a convincing liar. The meeting broke up around 3. Julia emerged from the conference room, shaking hands with clients, smiling that professional smile. She saw me in the lobby and froze. Ben, what are you doing here? Thought we could talk, somewhere neutral. She glanced around the lobby, aware that her co-workers were watching. Of course. Let me grab my purse. We walked to a coffee shop around the corner. Julia kept checking her phone, typing quick responses to texts. Work? I asked. Monica, she's worried about us. Thoughtful of her. We found a table in the back, away from the afternoon crowd. Julia ordered a latte. I got black coffee. The barista was young, probably college-aged, and kept glancing at Julia like she recognized her from somewhere. You said you ended things with Liam, I said once we were seated. I did, yesterday after you left. I called him and told him it was over. How did he take it? Not well, he was angry, said some things. She shrugged. It doesn't matter, it's done. I sipped my coffee and watched her face. She was lying, but she was good at it. If I hadn't seen the GPS tracker, hadn't watched Liam's car move around town all day, I might have believed her. I want to come home, she said. I want to fix this. Okay. She blinked. Okay? Okay. You can come home. We can try to fix this. Relief flooded her face. Really? You mean it? I mean it, but I have conditions. Anything, name it. Full transparency. I want access to your phone, your email, your social media, everything. She hesitated for just a moment. Of course. And counseling. Marriage counseling. We start this week. Yes, absolutely. And Liam. If I find out you've had any contact with him, any contact at all, I'm gone for good. No second chances, no explanations, no forgiveness. Understood? Understood. We shook hands across the table like business partners closing a deal. Julia was smiling, probably thinking she'd gotten away with it, that she could have her cake and eat it too. She had no idea what was coming. That evening, we had dinner at home like a normal married couple. Julia cooked, something she hadn't done in months, and we talked about safe subjects, work, the weather, plans for the weekend. She was trying so hard to be the perfect wife that it was almost painful to watch. After dinner, she handed me her phone. Here, you said you wanted transparency. I scrolled through her messages, her call log, her social media. Everything looked clean. No messages from Liam, no suspicious calls, no incriminating photos. You deleted everything, I said. I told you it was over. Even the photos. A flicker of something crossed her face. What photos? The ones you sent him. The ones he sent you. Ben, I don't know what you're talking about. I handed back her phone. Okay, I believe you. But I didn't believe her. And she knew I didn't believe her. We were both playing a game now, pretending to trust each other while planning our next moves. Around 10 o'clock, Julia went upstairs to shower. I waited until I heard the water running, then pulled out the burner phone Shane had bought. I dialed Liam's number. Hello? His voice was cautious, probably didn't recognize the number. Liam? This is Ben Cross, Julia's husband. Silence. We need to talk, I continued, face to face, man to man. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it's a great idea. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock. The Riverside Inn, room 237. How do you know about... I know about a lot of things, Liam. The question is, do you want to keep this between us, or do you want me to start sharing what I know with other people? Another silence. Then, what do you want? Like I said, to talk. 9 o'clock tomorrow. Come alone. I hung up and deleted the call from the phone's history. Upstairs, the shower was still running. Julia was probably shaving her legs, getting ready to be the perfect wife. Tomorrow night, we'd see how perfect she really was. The Riverside Inn was the kind of place people went when they didn't want to be seen. Cheap, anonymous, and conveniently located between 3 different highway exits. I'd booked room 237 under a fake name, paying cash for 2 nights. I arrived early and set up Shane's equipment. The voice recorder went under the bed, the camera on the dresser, hidden behind a lamp. Everything was wireless, streaming to my phone in real time. At exactly 9 o'clock, there was a knock on the door. Liam looked nervous, constantly checking over his shoulder like he expected an ambush. He'd dressed down for the occasion, jeans and a hoodie instead of his usual designer workout gear. Ben? Come in. He stepped into the room cautiously, taking in the cheap furniture and stained carpet. What is this place? This is where you and my wife spent Tuesday afternoon. His face went red. Look, man, I don't want any trouble. Neither do I. Sit down. He perched on the edge of the bed like he was ready to run. I took the chair by the window, keeping my distance, keeping things calm, Julia says she ended things with you, I said. She did. Yesterday. She called and said she was choosing her marriage. How did that make you feel? He looked confused by the question. How did it make me feel? Angry? Hurt? Relieved? Look, I never meant for this to happen. Julia said you two were having problems, that you'd grown apart. She said you didn't understand her. And you believed her? Why wouldn't I? She's your wife. She knows you better than anyone. I almost laughed. What else did she tell you about me? That you were boring, set in your ways, that she felt trapped. Trapped. Her word, not mine. And what did you tell her? Liam shifted uncomfortably. That she deserved better. That she deserved to be happy. With you. Maybe, if things were different. But things aren't different, are they? She's still married to me. Yeah, and she chose you. So we're done. I pulled out my phone and showed him the GPS tracker app. This is your car, Liam. Want to guess where it was this afternoon? His face went white as he stared at the screen. The little dot was parked outside Julia's office building. I was in the area. You were in the area, for 3 hours, in the parking garage of her building. We needed to talk, to say goodbye properly. Is that what you call it? Liam stood up. I don't have to listen to this. Actually, you do, I said calmly. Leave, and I post every photo, text, and video of you and Julia. Everywhere. He sat down. Good. Now, what happened in the garage today? We talked. About us. About what's next. And? She's leaving you, soon. She just needs time for the logistics. I laughed. How considerate. She doesn't love you, Ben. Funny, that's what all your exes probably thought. I showed him my phone. Photo after photo of women he'd seduced and lost. Rebecca, Jennifer, Amanda. You don't steal wives, Liam. You borrow them. Julia's different. Sure she is. Here's what happens now. You end it. Tell her you can't break up a marriage. Be noble. And if I don't, then everyone sees this, and I call the husbands. He went pale. You can't. I can. Don't mess with a man who's got nothing left to lose. When I got home, Julia was waiting. Where were you? Out. We agreed to be honest. Did we? I asked. How was your afternoon? Fine, just work. No visitors? Her face faltered. No. Why? I showed her the tracker app. This is Liam's car. Guess where it was for 3 hours. You're tracking him? I'm protecting myself. From lies. She sighed. Yes, he came by. To say goodbye. It's over, Ben. Then call him, I said. What? Call him and tell him you've changed your mind. Tell him you want him. I won't. Then prove it. Meet him tomorrow, somewhere public, and end it. For good. And if I do, you'll forgive me? We'll see. I looked at her, the woman I'd built a life with, and knew forgiveness wasn't possible. Some fractures don't heal. Some people, once unmasked, stay that way. Tomorrow night she'd end it, or I would.